The following program contains coarse language. Viewer discretion is advised.
I've been to St. Louis a few times. This story, definitely a crazy one, but I use these stories as cautionary tales, and I'm hoping and praying that we can start to lessen the amount of these children that are being abused. I hope it's slowing down. I mean, a lot of times we can't actually see it. We just hope. But every time I look at my email and I get more and more and more of these stories, it's definitely rough on my heart. But I'm going to continue to keep speaking on this because I believe that these children deserve to have their stories told, okay? Let me give you a disclaimer. If I happen to use some strong language, this content is not intended for children. It's intended for mature audiences. That's a disclaimer. Remind me of 4. Take it away. Let's get it.
Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, new website articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer.
And I'm getting this story from a website. Let me get that off the screen. Getting this story from a website called kcbd.com. So if they're listening, thank you for the article. So this guy that you guys see on my screen, that's what we're going to be focusing on. So let me brace you guys for this. The details are rough, but we're grown. We can deal with the details. A 2-year-old boy was sexually assaulted and killed by his babysitter while his mother was at work. This is according to authorities in St. Louis. And you guys hear this, and I think that's the mother. I know a lot of people, my channel is sitting at almost 40 million total views. There are a lot of people around the world that have heard my videos, heard my cautionary tales. Even if you haven't heard me, you've heard other child advocates out there. There are many other ones out there that have spoken about these boyfriend babysitter situations that need to stop. How many of you guys have heard me say that before? Or many times have you guys heard me say that? They're your boyfriends, not qualified baby caretakers. They shouldn't be watching your children at all. They shouldn't be you're at work, then you need to put your kids with a babysitter. Matter of fact, here's a wilder idea. Now, I might be just picking at straws, but what about the wild idea of, let's see, oh yeah, how about the man that helped you create that child? How about you let him be the babysitter? What a novel concept. Anybody and everybody in our society can watch our kids except for the biological father. How crazy is that? You won't reach out. You won't work it out. You just have this sustained hate in your heart for a person that you won't allow them to be a parent just because you have the ability to prevent them from being an actual involved parent. You won't even give them the opportunity. I'm not saying that's what this situation is, but that's too many times what the damn case is. You had a choice and you chose boyfriend over baby daddy. Because I can speak from experience. If you were to get a call from your baby's mom and say, I need you to watch your child more times than none, a man like me is going to go get my kid. No, we won't take that route. We're not going to acquiesce to this asshole that we made these kids buy. No, we is not going to give him the satisfaction, y'all. But y'all heard what this man is accused of doing S.A.ing a child and S.A.ing a little boy. Bianca Wells, I think that's the mother, said her son, Bre'yeon, was so happy. 2-year-old Bre'yeon. She said, my baby was so happy. He was so loving. He loved everybody and everything. He just wanted to be a kid and enjoy life. I thought that's what he was doing. Now, according to the St. Louis Metro Police Department, Bre'yeon was left in the care of 21-year-old Nico Cotton on October the 27th. Cotton was a close friend and Wells' boyfriend. How many of you guys listening to the sound of my voice are tired of me being wrong or tired of me being right? How many of y'all are literally tired of me being right when I say that men should not be fathers under the age of 30 years old? It doesn't guarantee anything, but it does help. It does help in the process of making sure that you give a person every opportunity to grow the F up and be ready to be a father when that time comes after the age of 30 years old. A 21-year-old man is not suitable at that age to be a father. Not saying that you can't, not saying that there haven't been some successful ones. What I'm saying is that it's trending the wrong way. The likelihood of a man being a good father under the age of 30 years old is not a high probability. It actually is the opposite. An older man generally, not all, generally will be more financially prepared, more emotionally prepared to be a father after the age of 30 years old. How about we just give it a freaking try and stop making men under the age of 30 years old fathers? I don't think that these men are ready in general, not all. Okay? They said in this article, and do not blame me, this is kcbd.com. They said, and I quote, Cotton admitted to sexually assaulting and strangling Bre'yeon after turning himself in on Thursday, according to court documents. Prosecutors charged Cotton with second-degree murder. They also charged him with forcible sodomy. If you don't know what that is, take a second, Google it. Statutory sodomy and abuse of a child resulting in death. Oh, Lord. So Wells says she was at work and left her son with Cotton, whom she trusted. Why did you? If he could even do this, then what gave you the indication that you could trust him? You could trust him because you were attracted to him. You could trust him because he's proven himself to be a good father. People say nice things about him being a parent. Like, what was it that caused you to trust him? Investigators say that Bre'yeon arrived at Cardinal Glennon Hospital unresponsive, and doctors determined that his injuries were consistent with abuse. The 2-year-old later died from multiple internal and asphyxial injuries, including a lacerated liver and multiple signs of sexual assault. Wells says she will not be satisfied until justice is served. Wells said her only comfort is knowing Bre'yeon was loved and that he is in a better place with his father. Oh my God. So the biological father is dead. I don't even want to know why. That's the worst part. I felt like my baby was safe, he was okay and looked after, and he was not, she said. She said, I love you and I'm sorry. Let me give you guys the fair usage. I just feel like I just be wasting my breath.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
And I want to say this. Do me a favor and please click that thumbs up if you listen to this video. Make this go viral. We make so much celebrity news go viral. Well, how about this? How about the story of Bre'yeon? His story needs to go viral. Somebody help me make it go viral, okay? Let's get into these news stories.
A St. Louis woman has been arrested in the death of her 2-year-old son. Bianca Wells is charged with endangering the welfare of a child, resulting in death. Officers found Bre'yeon Wells unresponsive at a home on Thekla last month. The medical examiner says he'd been strangled and suffered other injuries. His death has been ruled a homicide. A man who was also in the home is being held on several charges, including second-degree murder.
And shout out to Law and Crime.
I want to start by warning you that the details of this story are extremely disturbing. It is every parent's worst nightmare. It's the kind of thing that you tell yourself could never, ever happen to you. You have a St. Louis mother, Bianca Wells, who left her 2-year-old son, Bre'yeon, with someone that she trusted completely, her own boyfriend, 21-year-old Nico Cotton. She went to work, believing that her happy, loving little boy was safe and sound. In fact, I'll tell you what, just look at this video of Bre'yeon that his aunt shared on Facebook, okay? This is the vibrant, joyful little boy that his family knew.
Shake it.
That's the memory that his family is now left with. Because what happened next is the stuff of nightmares. On October 27th, Bre'yeon was rushed to the hospital unresponsive and later died. And then came a horrifying revelation from the police. They say this wasn't an accident, that the babysitter, the man that his mother trusted, allegedly confessed to killing this child. But he didn't just harm the child, no. Authorities say he sexually assaulted and strangled this 2-year-old boy. According to a probable cause affidavit, the medical examiner found that Bre'yeon had a lacerated liver. The cause of death was ruled a homicide from multiple internal and asphyxial injuries. So how does a story that begins with the laugh of this sweet little boy end like this? We've been digging through the court documents. We've been digging through the police reports to try to get just a picture here, a clear chronological picture of what happened, this case. So according to the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department, this all started with a call for help. October 27th, it's around 10:40 p.m. Police were called to a house in the Mark Twain neighborhood for a 2-year-old boy who was unresponsive. Officials arrive. They rush this child, who again was identified as Bre'yeon Wells, to a nearby hospital where he was declared deceased. And now there are a few critical details here that we want to talk about, because police confirmed to local outlet Fox 2 that the 2 adults who were with Bre'yeon were not his parents. We have learned that this call came from a house where the child didn't even live. According to a probable cause statement, the man watching him, again, was Bianca Wells' boyfriend, 21-year-old Nico Cotton, and police say Cotton told them he was the, quote, sole caregiver for the child on October 27th and had been there for several days. Now, initially, the child abuse unit took over the investigation, deeming the circumstances suspicious. The adults present, including Cotton, they were questioned and released pending that investigation. But the break in the case came from the medical examiner's report 2 days later. Why? October 29th, the medical examiner's office said that the little boy's body had evidence of strangulation as well as other injuries. The report ruled the death a homicide, finding Bre'yeon died from, quote, multiple internal and asphyxial injuries, including a lacerated liver, and also showed signs of sexual assault. So with this evidence, the case was then transferred to homicide detectives. And faced with these findings, Nico Cotton turned himself in on October 30th. It was then, according to the probable cause affidavit, that he allegedly confessed, admitting to sexually assaulting and strangling Bre'yeon. Now, he has since been charged with second-degree murder, forcible sodomy, statutory sodomy, abuse of a child resulting in death, and it is in that probable cause affidavit where the alleged confession becomes even more disturbing and even more graphic and even more specific. The document states that after being read his rights, the defendant, Nico Cotton, and that progression's important, right? Allegedly saying this after being read his rights, that is when he didn't just admit to the assault, He detailed it. And this is so beyond disgusting and graphic that we're not going to read you the whole thing in its entirety. But essentially, police claim that Cotton engaged in sexual activity with this child, this 2-year-old child. And during that activity, he, quote, bit and strangled the child. The child's death was the result of the multiple injuries he suffered during the sexual assault. It is a level of alleged brutality that is almost impossible to comprehend, especially when you remember, again, that vibrant little boy at the center of it. So following Bre'yeon's tragic passing, his aunt shared these videos to show the world who this little boy was.
Why do you look like a grown man? No! Hey! Shake it!
Again, that laugh, those clapping hands, this is the child that his family is now forced to mourn. In her grief, Bre'yeon's mother, Bianca Wells, told KMOV that this feels like something out of the TV shows that she watches, saying, I watch Law & Order all day, so to feel like this is me and this is my baby, the happiest baby in the world, he doesn't deserve this. It feels like my heart is shattered. It doesn't feel like I have air in my lungs right now. She also shared a message for other families, a warning born from her own tragedy, saying, support your family, be there for them, because you could be like me and have nothing. She also told the outlet that one of the only comforts she has is that Bre'yeon is in a better place with his father. The boy's godmother, Latoya Johnston, told the St. Louis Dispatch that Wells didn't have much support. That's why she left him with someone she trusted while she worked long shifts. Johnston told the paper, quote, she was not a bad mom. She was a trying mom. There's no book on parenting. There's no foundation of knowing how to take care of a child. She was trying, and she had the love and support of people trying to help her learn. Now, Nico Cotton remains in custody, again facing these charges of second-degree murder, forcible sodomy, statutory sodomy, abuse of a child resulting in death. I think it's important once again to remember to say what these charges are, and now we want to talk about it.
The godmother of 2-year-old Bre'yeon Wells is speaking out tonight. Police say the toddler was murdered last week in North St. Louis.
21-year-old Nico Cotton has since been charged with murder and sex crimes connected to the toddler's death. Fox 2's Max Deeknight joins us now. Max, Wells' godmother told you she is absolutely crushed.
Yeah, Maddie, surely that's right. 42-year-old Latoya Johnston told us she loved Bre'yeon like he was one of her own. The mother of four says she was like a grandma and mom to the toddler and his young mother, and she says his death has left her absolutely heartbroken.
This is a pain I wouldn't wish on anyone in the world.
Latoya Johnston says her connection with 2-year-old Bre'yeon Wells was instant. She says she first started taking care of him when he was just 3 months old after feeling called to help the boy and his young mom, who was just 19 at the time.
He's always smiling. He's never met a stranger. He would sit on the Metro bus and wave at people as they came on. He loved riding the Metro.
Last Monday, Johnston got a call that she says will forever change her life.
His mom called me screaming and said, Mom, you got to get to Cardinal Glennon. They just said Bre'yeon is dead. And my heart literally stopped, and I was like, what do you mean? They said he's dead.
21-year-old Nico Cotton, a friend of Bre'yeon's mom, was left to babysit the 2-year-old. He now faces charges of second-degree murder and sex crimes after medical examiners found evidence the boy was strangled. Johnston says Bre'yeon's mother left the boy with someone she thought she could trust because she needed to work.
Right now, we just need prayers, and we just need everyone to just give us grace. Give his mom grace. She's going through enough. She's blaming herself enough. Trust me, you can't make her feel any worse than she already feels.
So, and that guilt is supposed to guide you from putting your children in bad positions to begin with. And it's like they keep continuing to try to eliminate that guilt, like guilt doesn't do good things in this world. It actually does. So it's like if you feel like you're going to feel guilty, maybe you wouldn't do these things. All these years, I've been doing this, 7, almost 8 years now? And people think about that guilt and they're like, you know what? I don't want to be the mother. I don't want to be the parent who leaves my kids with this person and then something happens and then I have to sit there and explain myself, or live with that guilt. It's supposed to prevent you from making this type of thing happen. She feels bad enough. Well, she didn't. You didn't feel bad enough to not, like, I'm sorry, but if this man could do something like this, there had to have been some signs. I don't know if she did a background check on him. Did he come back squeaky clean? What did he do for a living? You know, maybe even some of the weird sexual fetishes sometimes that people have can be a telltale sign of who they really truly are. I just don't think that this is just an isolated thing. Like, what do you guys think? Like, you just think that he just did this just this one time, never thought about taking advantage of a child any other time? Like, I just find that hard to believe.
Johnston says she will always carry Bre'yeon, who she called Duty, in her heart. She says if she could talk to him one last time, she would say,
I'm sorry that this happened to you. I'm sorry that this monster ever came in your life. And I just love you.
Johnston tells us she was getting over a recent hospital stay last week, and that was why Will's mom didn't reach out to her for help babysitting. She says she wishes she had known that she needed that help. Shirley.
All right.
So, as a baseline going forward to women like this, people who claim and then put up a GoFundMe, didn't have no type of insurance. I believe in life insurance. I'm pro-life insurance, not against GoFundMe. But at the same time, we got to start doing better when it comes to that. I'm going to start getting back on that. This is not your child's father. He should not be babysitting your kid. As a rule of thumb, that's the word I was looking for. As a rule of thumb, the only man, ladies, that should be babysitting your kids is the biological father or the man that you are legally married to. Not we's gonna get married, y'all. Not we's talking about a wedding. Not we's planning on it. We's going to at some point. I'm talking about on paper makes a difference. If nothing else, let the biological father babysit his own kids. But that forces y'all to have to work with each other, don't it? It's funny how that works. It takes two to make kids, but those two people don't want to work together. You should have to. And you should be thinking about that, especially the next time that you go date a damn thug by way of his actions, not his skin color. He is a what do you call it? He is a pedophile. He is an SA. He's all of that. Right? So once he gets convicted, that'll be the end of that. And I hope that they actually give him the ultimate penalty under law. If they give him the death penalty, that's what he deserves. Thank you guys so much for listening to Bre'yeon's story. To Bre'yeon, let me find my favorite picture of him. Probably this one, Young Prince, R.I.P. I really, really wish that both parents would have put him as their only priority, their main priority in life was to care for him. Okay? Thank you guys so much for listening to this story. Thank you.